I start by cutting two sheets of 15 by 17 by 2 inch pieces of high density foam, and I'm stacking 4 on top of each other and hot gluing them. Now I'm just taking a red marker and sketching out what the face would look like. I'll be including a list of materials in the description as well as the dimensions. Now I'm taking an X-Acto blade and I'm cutting it out. Now I'm using some scissors to shape it and make it look rounder. Now I'm hot gluing a scrap of foam to the mouth, and that's going to be the muzzle. Now I'm just trimming it to shape. Now here's what the top part of the head looks like so far. I use a plastic ornament that can separate down the middle. It's 2 inches in diameter, so I just trace the shape onto the head. Now I'm hot gluing the other scraps of foam together. This will be for the jaw. Now place the head on top. Now take a red marker and trace it. Now cut it out and trim it to make it rounder. Now I'm wrapping one half of the head with saran wrap, and now I'm adding duct tape to the half. Now you're going to cut it out directly down the middle and cut slits into it to make it flat. Now I'm tracing it onto some yellow fabric, and you're probably wondering, AJ, why are you using yellow fabric? He's like green. Well, this is the undertone. I'm going to add some paint on it to make it look like the actual thing. After you cut it out, trace it once more, but make sure to flip it. After you cut the second one out, line them up side by side, and hot glue the seams together. Now you flip it inside out. And put it onto the head. Now you want to hot glue it in place. I use anti-pill fleece so it stretches, so that way no wrinkles show. Now cut out the eye holes. And hot glue the flaps back into the eyes. Now I'm just hot gluing the fabric onto the jaw. Now I'm taking a sponge and lightly dabbing some green paint onto the head. Doing the same thing to the jaw. And I'm also adding black paint on there as well. Now I'm painting the inside of the ornament white. It's important to do it on the inside and not the outside, so that way it looks glossy. Now I'm just hot gluing on some black fabric scraps that I had. This will act as the eyelids. Once you get the right positioning, hot glue it inside the head. Now I'm taking a black paint pen and just painting on the pupils. What I like about the paint pen is that it has this natural glossy finish to it. I just hot glued some air dry clay and that'll be the nose. Now I'm using that black paint pen to add some details around the mouth. I also painted the nose and made the eye sockets darker. I just added some black fabric to the bottom and top of the mouth. Now I bought a bunch of chopsticks and painted each individual one white. I ended up painting 82 chopsticks. These are going to be for the teeth. Took a long time. Now after all the tips of the chopstick have been painted white, I marked down where I want the teeth to be and cut them out. Now I'm hot gluing them onto the head. I actually went and counted each individual tooth on him. I counted 41 on top, 41 on the bottom. It's a really weird number of teeth, but I ain't judging. After you're done hot gluing the teeth so he can bite children, it's time to make the ears. I made a stencil of the ears. He has 3 different sections. Now I'm just tracing it onto some foam. And I'll be cutting it out. I trim the edges and put wire all the way through, that way it can bend. Then I added some fabric onto it, then did that same painting method and painted the insides a little darker. Now I'm going to hot glue those onto his head. And there you go. He has like these endo teeth inside of his mouth, so I'm just drawing it on some scrap foam. And I'm double layering it, that way it's thick. I placed it where I wanted it to be. I didn't hot glue it on the bottom, but I did hot glue it on the top. That way the jaw can move down. I cut a hole right behind where the endo teeth would be, and I stuck a PVC pipe into the head. I just hot glued it into place. And I bought this hinge from Home Depot for a couple bucks, and that'll act as a jaw mechanism. Now I'm just hot gluing it onto those teeth. The camera cut at the worst part, but I just hot glued it onto the jaw and stuck the PVC pipe through, and now it can bend. I stacked 5 layers of 8x8 by 1 inch pieces of foam that I cut out. This will be for the torso. Now I'm just hot gluing them into place. And now I'm trimming it to the shape of the torso. This is what it looks like. And then I cut a hole all the way through it. Now I'm just adding fabric to it. Now I'm trimming off the excess fabric and lightly dabbing on green and black paint. I cut out a stencil of his belly. I traced it on some fabric, cut it out. Now I'm hot gluing it on. Then painted it darker than the rest of the body. Now I'm sliding the head through. I didn't hot glue it into place, that way I can actually rotate the head. Now I made a stencil for the arms. Instead of project foam, I'm going to be using these foam mats. I thought I'd try something new to see if I like it. Now I'm cutting it into 4 different sections. Now I'm just hot gluing them together and tracing on one part of the arm and cutting it out. I don't have a rotary tool, but I do have this cheese grater thing, and it worked perfect to sand it down. This is what it looked like. Now make 2 of them, one for the top and bottom part of the arms. And now I'm adding fabric onto it. Now here's the bicep, or the top part of the arm. And I repeat the step for the forearm. And then you're going to color it. And then stick a wire through it. Make sure there's enough space so it can actually bend. And now I'm cutting a hole into the torso and hot gluing it inside. Do this process twice and do it with the other arm. I also added clay for the little rotators. I hot glued a couple scraps of foam. Now I'm just trimming it to shape. This will be for the hips. Then I added fabric on it. Added green and black paint. Now I'm hot gluing 2 3" by 3" by 1" pieces of foam I cut out. Now I'm just trimming out the edges. These will be the hands. Now I'm just adding some fabric onto it. Trimming off any extra fabric. Then I stuck 5 wires inside the hands. Then I cut out some 3" by 1" pieces of foam and made sure they were rounded. I added some fabric onto it. Now I'm hot gluing it onto the wires. Now I'm lightly adding some green and black paint to it. And these are completely posable. As you can see, I bent the hands a little bit. Here's an example. I cut a hole in the bottom of the hands and I'm adding wire through it. Now sticking that onto the arm. Do this process twice and you have 2 hands. The legs are the same process as the arms. Make stencils for them, trace it onto foam, cut it and sand it. Add some fabric onto it, add some wire through it and stick it onto the hips. Now paint them green and black. Now I'm hot gluing these stiff springs, one on each side. This helps it so it can bend easily without it snapping. Now hot glue the hips and legs onto the springs. Now I made a stencil for the feet. I'm tracing it onto the foam mats. I traced it 6 times and each foot will have 3 layers. Now I'm hot gluing the layers on top of each other. I'm taking my cheese grater and I'm sanding it down. You'll get this rounded shape to it. Now repeat this step twice and you get 2 of them. Then you're going to hot glue some fabric onto it. Now repeat that twice. Dab on some green and black paint. And now hot glue it onto the wires that are sticking from the bottom of the leg. I absolutely loved how this one turned out. This is actually my favorite project I've ever made. I think the colors are spot on, and it's actually proportionally correct. I took a lot of time to measure it. And as you can see, the arms are fully posable, and the fingers are also posable. You can bend them. Everything is very fluid, so are the legs. Projects like these take a lot of time and money, so it'd really help if you guys subscribe. It's completely free, and it helps me see that you guys want more of this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.